Chapter 61. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Henshin. After a strong flash, a black warrior appeared in front of the two weirdos. I am Kamen Rider, Black Sun. Chapter 90. Moving towards a new world. Ever since the day he fought the cockroach monster, the mysterious Kamen Rider Black has disappeared, but people know that the extremely powerful knight still exists, and they don't know when it will suddenly appear again, so they don't dare to hinder the actions of Kotaro and Nobuhiko. But, is Blue Light Red really still in this world? Yes, he is still there, in an international physics university. Blue-ray Red disguised as a student is swimming in the ocean of knowledge. No, I can't do it at all. Lan Guanghong took off his gold-rimmed glasses and rubbed his eyes vigorously, sighing, it's really too difficult, I really can't do it. Hey, don't be discouraged, Guanghong. Faria cheered him on, come on, Showa's seniors are all geniuses, you can do it too. I'm sorry, I have embarrassed my seniors. He lay down on the table with a helpless expression and slowly closed his eyes. Seeing his miserable expression, Faria bit her lips and whispered a few words into his ear. Lan Guanghong suddenly opened his eyes, his pupils shining brightly. Real? The devil cannot lie. Okay. What you say makes me excited. He straightened up, rubbed his hands and started flipping through the book again. Erotic idiot. Blu-ray Red turned a deaf ear and focused on greedily absorbing knowledge from the books in front of him, hoping to repair Timmons's belt as soon as possible so that Faria could regain her human form, but... as expected, it's still very difficult, Faria. You should unlock more postures to be worthy of my efforts, Falia. Here we go again. I can't get out again. Falia said helplessly inside his body. Blu-ray Red. Remember the last time this happened, he came to this world inexplicably, what about this time? Phew. The purple wind tunnel suddenly appeared again, and the crazy storm that followed blew the surrounding area into chaos. But the strange thing is that only the blue light and red are not affected, and even the corners of the clothes do not float up. Next, under his astonished gaze, a woman wearing a white robe walked out of the wind tunnel. She wore a white feather mask on her face, and her loose underwear was tied around her waist with a golden ribbon, outlining her tall and slender figure. Lan Guanghong had seen this look before in her dream. The wind tunnel disappeared as the woman walked out. She came to Lan Guanghong and bowed slightly. I finally found you, Lord Black Sunday. Li Hume. Lan Guanghong shouted her name in surprise. It's so touching that you still remember my subordinate, Mr. Black Sunday. No, I just remembered a name. Lan Guanghong waved his hand and suddenly frowned. Do you know about my amnesia? Yes, it was my subordinate's mistake that caused you to be harmed by an adulterer and almost brainwashed. However, I stopped the operation at the last minute, but unfortunately, there is nothing I can do about your disappeared memories. Oh, that's right. Lan Guanghong nodded thoughtfully. Li Hume's words matched the scene in her dream. The probability of lying was low because she didn't know how much memory Lan Guanghong had lost and what she knew, so Lan Guanghong continued to ask, so, it was you who made me travel to these worlds. Li Hume was stunned for a moment, then explained, you have forgotten even this. Your subordinate is only responsible for opening the door. As for which world you will go to, this is guided by the Emperor Stone. Emperor Stone. Lan Guanghong looked at his waist. He didn't expect that there was something like this in it. Yes, everything is the choice of the Emperor Stone, and we priests cannot interfere. Li Hume's figure gradually became illusory, her expression changed, and she said, Lord Black Sun, I don't have much time. In order to finally defeat Lord Shadow Moon, you must now go to the next world to gain power. Let's go. She waved her hand and opened the wind tunnel again, leaning forward and waiting for the blue light and red to enter. Lan Guanghong hesitated for a moment, but immediately stood up and took the initiative to enter the wind tunnel. He had no choice. If he didn't take this opportunity to leave, he would remain in this world and his strength would not be improved at all. If Shadow Moon calls then, he won't have anywhere to cry, so instead of wondering whether to believe Li Hume, it's better to just go in and see what kind of world is on the other side. Again, he won't die anyway, after passing through a magical barrier, the blue light and red eyes were dazzled, and the feet had already stepped on the hard ground. Oh, I've really come to a new world, that he looked around and found that he had arrived at a warehouse filled with brightly colored props. The sound of machinery running and people's laughter could also be heard outside. Well, it's an amusement park. He adjusted his slightly disheveled hair and asked, Feilia, are you okay? It's okay now. Faria floated out, folding her arms on her chest, and there was a hint of danger in her narrowed eyes. Hey, the one named Li Hyum, how do you know her name? I saw him in my dream. He is the sky priest from my side. Lan Guanghong knew that the more he explained, the easier it would be to make mistakes. He said a simple sentence and then changed the subject. By the way, what happened to you just now? Why can't you get out suddenly? Don't change the subject suddenly, you erotic idiot. Who changed the subject? I am obviously concerned about you, okay? That just when the two were bickering again, Lan Guanghong's ears suddenly moved slightly, and he keenly caught the discordant sound mixed in the cheers. Something happened. He ran out of the warehouse. The situation in the amusement park took a sharp turn for the worse. When Lan Guanghong ran out of the warehouse, the whole amusement park was already full of screams of fear, and flames, and people fleeing could be seen everywhere. After saving a few trapped passers-by on the way, he saw the murderer who caused this disaster. Robot? Looking at the silver robots that were attacking with twisted steps, Lan Guanghong shook his hands and prepared to transform to meet the enemy. Get out of the way, ordinary people, leave here, Lan Guanghong. He turned his head to look at the person who made the sound, and found that it was a man and a woman leading an armed force, holding rifles and fighting these robots. Official personnel. If they notice, there may be trouble, let's go to another place. Making up his mind, Lan Guanghong pretended to be terrified and turned to run away. When he ran to a secluded place, he prepared to transform again. Hen. Swish. A gust of wind suddenly blew in front of him. Fortunately, Lan Guanghong had amazing eyesight. Even with just a glimpse, he saw the culprit who set off the gust of wind. Fuck, Tsurushima Noah. Chapter 91 Master Lan, the Saint of the Universe Fist.as mentioned before, because of the harm of the villain, Lan Guanghong's memory was almost completely gone, and he couldn't even remember who he was, but there were still some impressions of people in his mind, for example, Baba Fumika, Uchida Ryo, Kudo Mio, and Tsurushima Noah. It can be said that the essence of human nature is fully reflected. He had seen the first two when he was watching the drama in Levis World, but they became the enemy nurse and the heroine Shijima Kiriko in The Old Driver. Now he saw Tsurushima Noah again. In fact, when he was watching the drama, he had a vague feeling that these worlds might really exist, and he himself was the best proof. However, he had not seen this one. In other words, it is not the world of the Showa and Heisei years. Lan Guanghong thought about it, followed the track left by the girl who looked very much like Tsurushima Noah, and walked towards her. After a while, after saving a few unlucky guys along the way, he saw the back of the girl. Standing next to her was a scarred boy, who was talking to a robot that was obviously not an ordinary soldier. You don't know anything, what right do you have to laugh at other people's dreams? Dreams can't be understood by searching. You are not allowed to destroy other people's dreams. That it should have been a very exciting scene, but it made Lan Guanghong want to laugh. Me, I've said it too many times, I can't feel the passion at all. After complaining casually, Blue Light Red continued to hide behind the wall. OMO, judging from the situation at the scene, this young man is the Kamen Rider of this world. It seems that he came at the right time. The next situation was just as Blue Light Red expected. The boy got the driver given by the girl, turned into a knight named 01, and defeated the runaway robot, but the process. Hey, what kind of third-rate fighting method? Being hit in the face by a briefcase, and being kicked by the knight will also sprain his ankle. After watching his fight, Blue Light Red was speechless for a while, and sighed for a long time. Is this guy a comedian? It's very likely. Faria, who was also watching the game, nodded in agreement. Well, anyway, he looks like a passionate young man. He will probably work hard to help humans like Ikki in the future. However, Icky is at least the designated heir of the happy bathhouse. He will have no worries about food and drink in the future. This guy looks like a poor boy. I wonder how he will live in the future. Mr. Hayden Orto, I am the President's Special Secretary Izzy. Since you use this 01 driver, you are the second president of our Hayden intelligence. Secretary type Shumagia bowed to Orto and said, blue light red, gone. Dog rich man. At this time, Faria asked thoughtfully, speaking of which, Guanghong, I suddenly thought of a question. What question? Do you have money on you? Blue light red blinked his eyes and felt cold in his heart. There is no money on him, only cards, but you don't have to think about it. The cards in that world must not be swiped here. It's over. Are we going to sell the combat locusts again for emergency? That is a product injected with the energy of the Emperor Stone. The combat locust can respond to his call across time and space and come to his side. He has tried this in the last world, but once it is in the same world as him, its ability to cross time and space will disappear. As for why, it can only be said that Lan Guanghong is also looking for the answer. When he was about to call the combat locust, Phalia poured a basin of cold water on him again. I suggest you don't do this. I just looked around and found that all the buildings in this world are equipped with cameras except for the bathroom. If you use that method again, you will be discovered immediately. Lan Guanghong looked dejected. What should I do? Should I go back to my old job of fighting? It's not impossible. Faria covered her mouth and smiled like a little devil. Oh no, she is the devil. At this moment, Lan Guanghong accidentally saw that the armed team was still fighting with the remaining robot soldiers, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Chapter 62. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Captain, there are too many of them, and it's hard for our rifles to work. The man known as the captain saw that his team was struggling, his eyes narrowed, and he turned back to the car. The woman who was traveling with him saw his plan and dissuaded him. Hey! Bupa, you haven't received permission yet. Blade, go away. Bupo pushed her away unceremoniously, preparing to get the killer weapon. Suddenly, a shadow flashed above them, and the two subconsciously raised their guns. However, they saw that the person who came was wearing casual clothes, and it was not Samagia who had something wrong, so they immediately stopped their guns in time. Hey, you're not trying to be brave here. Before he finished speaking, Bupo saw the young man running to his team members and kicking away an approaching magic machine, not broken. Even though the magic machine is in human form, it is actually made of solid iron inside, and its weight is comparable to that of an elephant. This man kicked the elephant away. However, he was still shocked too early. What happened next completely overturned Bupo's impression of ordinary humans. Cosmic boxing, secret technique, the young man roared, and then rushed into the group of magic machines like a tiger into a herd of sheep. Wave Fist, Whirlwind Kick, Beidou 100 Fisher Fist, Overlord Xiangho Fist. Lushan Shenglongba, accompanied by moves that had unknown meanings but sounded very impressive. These magical machines that could not even be harmed by rifles were beaten to pieces. After a while, they were smashed into broken parts all over the floor. Fua, Blade, MS team members, with their poor vocabulary, there are no words sufficient to describe their mood at this moment. Okay, so awesome. A teammate's low cry woke up everyone who was stunned. Bupo shook his head violently and strode to the young man's side. Thank you for your help. Who are you? Blu-ray Red turned sideways and hugged her chest, not looking at her without looking at her, looking like a master. I am the second-generation successor of the universe boxing technique, a disciple of the boxing god, known as the boxing saint, Lan Guanghong. I was ordered by my master to go down the mountain to eliminate evil for mankind. Bupo, he thought for a moment, then suddenly reached out and pinched Lan Guanghong's arm. Blu-ray Red? What are you doing? No, it's nothing. After confirming that the other party was not Samagia, Bupo was even more surprised in his heart, but it didn't show much on his face. I am the captain of AMS, a specialized combat agency against AI crimes. Bupo Jian, do you mean these magic machines by the harm you are talking about? Magic machine. It turns out that these robots are called this. Yes, I am here just to deal with them. Lan Guanghong nodded coldly. That's just right. Do you want to join my army? We can get information as soon as the magic machine appears, which will be very helpful for your actions. Hey, Fupa. Ren persuaded again, we can't just let someone of unknown origin join. Blade, I am the captain of AMS. Vupo interrupted her, here, you must act according to my rules. If I say yes, then yes, as mentioned, when I was supplementing 01, I felt tortured and my soul received a strong impact, ah. How desperate am I to write this thing? Forget it, I've written everything, let's make these scumbags inside even worse. Relieve hatred. Chapter 92 The False Knight. The income is high, the food is good, and there is a single dormitory. This is the right step. As expected of me, Lan Guanghong stretched out on the small bed and said with satisfaction, and the technological level of this world is not low. There is hope for Timmons to repair it. Then come on, I haven't tasted food for a long time. It feels like fried chicken. There will be. Lan Guanghong stretched out his hand and pretended to touch Faria's head. But first, we need to understand the background of this world so that we can do things better in the future. Standing up, he turned on the computer provided in the room and checked the history of the world. After some inquiries, he learned that this world used to be no different from ordinary human society, until a genius, Haydn Karenasuk, came out of the blue and developed the artificial intelligence product Humagia. Only then did human society develop by leaps and bounds. So far, Humagia has developed into the second generation. Its functions and performance have been greatly improved. It is widely used in various positions in society and is called a dream machine. The latest news is that Haydn Shinosuk, who became the president of Haydn Intelligent, passed away yesterday, and his grandson Haydn or someone else will succeed him as president. Well, that's the funny guy I saw yesterday. There is also a picture below the news, which is a group photo of Feidian Intelligence senior executives, but except for the unidentified person and his secretary Izzy, everyone has a straight face, especially the vice president Futian. The old man had a long face, looking as if it was not someone's grandfather who died, but his father. Just as Lan Guanghong was browsing the news with interest, there was a knock on the door. Team Blue, I got your ID for you. Oh, thank you. Opening the door and receiving the certificate sent by a certain teammate, Lan Guanghong carefully put it into his pocket. Hey, Captain Fupa is really a good person. He said that he just came down from the mountain and had no ID card, so he immediately found someone to get it. Now, Lan Guanghong is a person of status in this world. Such a reliable captain, I have to find a way to repay him. I've decided to treat him to barbecue. Speaking of which, where is the captain? I haven't seen him for most of the day. The captain and consultant Blade went to Feidian Intelligence to investigate the rampage of the magic machine yesterday. Oh, so that's it. Lan Guanghong shook his head regretfully, there's nothing I can do. It's not that I don't want to treat, but they are not free. Beep beep beep, the intercom that Lan Guanghong put on the table rang together with the machines on his teammates' chests. Emergency assembly, location Feidian Intelligence Building, the magic machine has appeared. On the other side, Fu Pei gave the order in a simple and shocking manner. The next moment, the intercom responded with received and received. Understood, Lan Guanghong, attack immediately. Team Blue, just say, received. This time it was technical consultant Blade Wei who spoke. Received, Lan Guanghong, attack. There was silence in the internal communication channel. A van stopped at the entrance of Feidian building, the door opened, and more than 20 team members came out with M4 in hand. Lan Guanghong was one of them. At this moment, he was wearing combat uniform and tactical helmet like other team members. On the surface, there was no difference. Everyone, search separately in groups of 3. There are 2 enemies. One is a magic machine with 2 boomerang-shaped weapons that can climb walls, and the other is a locust-shaped magic machine that jumps very high. Pay attention to the top of your head when searching. Notify me immediately if you find the target. After saying that, Fua waved his hand, action. Everyone received the order and quickly divided into small teams and dispersed. Fua also turned around to continue searching for the magic machine, but he just ran 2 steps and heard footsteps following behind him. Fua. He turned around and looked at the people following him. Captain Fua, 3 people in a group, I am left behind. Lan Guanghong spread his hands helplessly. Fua realized that it was just right for 3 people to form a group before, but a new person joined yesterday. Then you come with me, be careful, they are different from the magic machines you defeated yesterday. Well, I will be careful. Blue Light Red nodded, they are just miscellaneous soldiers and elite monsters, which makes little difference to me, but the locust-shaped magic machine, could it be that kid Feidian or Ren? He followed Fua forward while guessing, and after a few steps, he heard the captain in front of him mutter, damn lizards, and stinky locusts, where are they going? Blue Light Red. Although he knew that it was not directed at him, Blue Light Red still felt seriously offended. His eyes fixed, and suddenly he pointed to a toilet not far away and said, Captain, there is movement there. Bupo turned his head and frowned, are you sure? Sure, I have practiced boxing for many years, and I have sharp ears and eyes. Nothing can escape my detection. Seeing his sure look, Bupo half believed and half doubtedly bowed and entered the toilet with a gun, followed by Lan Guanghong. Because of the appearance of the magic machine, Feidian issued an emergency evacuation order, so there is no one here now. After a little exploration, Bupo turned around and asked doubtfully, there is nothing here, you. Captain, be careful behind. Bupo was startled and immediately turned back and raised his gun, bang. He suddenly widened his eyes, then rolled his eyes and slowly fainted. Lan Guanghong supported Bupo from behind, opened a cubicle and put him on the toilet. Very good, you can let go and do your work. Coming to another cubicle, he raised his hand and clenched his fist. Hen Shin. After turning into a knight, he used his hand to pass over his compound eyes, using a skill he had never used before. Detection Eye. Detection Eye can see images from a very long distance, and has the ability to see through, see at night, and observe the enemy's weaknesses. It can be said to be another great skill of Black. With the help of this skill, he quickly found the lizard-shaped magic machine lying outside the Haydn building, waiting for an opportunity to move. Found you. He gathered strength in his legs, suddenly jumped up, broke through the outer wall and rushed straight to the enemy. The magic machine, which was lying outside and preparing to attack humans, keenly noticed the abnormal flow of air. He suddenly looked up and saw a black unidentified humanoid creature raising his fist and hitting it, bang. The knight knocked the magic machine into the building head-on. The powerful impact force caused them to break the floor continuously and rush all the way to the bottom of the building. After falling for an unknown number of floors, they finally stopped falling, and the magic machine paid the price of damaging an arm and losing its weapon, barely surviving the attack of the blue light and red. As soon as it landed, the damaged magic machine quickly fled. After getting up, Lan Guanghong did not chase it immediately because he found someone here when he fell, familiar people, saying familiar words. Zumagia is the dream of mankind. What is this? Is it also Zayumagia? Feidian Oren looked at Lan Guanghong and the magic machine that suddenly fell down with a question mark on his face. Lan Guanghong had the same expression. Chapter 63. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Humanity's dream. Is the dream of mankind just such a lump of iron that can go berserk and kill people? President, what kind of mentality do you have to say such illogical nonsense? And, are you really a Kamen Rider? Chapter 93. Stupid someone, regarding the question of whether he was a knight, Feidian or someone answered with action, jump. Authorize. Wearing the authorization key on the belt, a huge electronic locust penetrated the ceiling and descended from the sky, jumping back and forth on the ground, trampling the surroundings into a mess. Blue light red speechless, forget it, your company, as long as you are happy. Hen Shin. Open the key and insert it into the belt, and the electronic locusts turn into data streams and fly to the flying machines or people, forming a set of bright yellow outer armor. Next, the belt made another electronic sound, which probably meant, sublimated locust, I will jump up to the sky and give you a geo. There is only one person who can stop you. He pointed at the magic machine and pointed his thumb at himself. That's me. After saying that, he turned around in a circle and made a 0-1 shape with one hand. Lan Guanghong couldn't bear it anymore. He raised his hand to break the fangs of one of the demon machines that besieged him, and roared, "What are you doing with all the bells and whistles? Why don't you wait for me to finish fighting before you transform?" "Huh. Oh, here it comes." .01 ran over and knocked away a magic machine, which relieved Blu-ray-Hong's pressure a lot. In fact, with his strength, it is not difficult to eliminate these two demon machines head-on, but the strange thing is that the more blue light and red are hit, the harder it is to hit each other. On the contrary, the demon machine can always find his flaw and use cool blows to make him heal. Get depressed. It was as if his moves were seen through by the other party. They are learning. Lan Guanghong was shocked. Magic machine is still a Zamagia in essence, and its learning and analysis abilities are top-notch. If this ability is applied to combat, it will probably be in its current state. Simply put, it is difficult to defeat a magic machine without comparable computing power or unexpected means. Hey, this is too much. The group of soldiers yesterday did not have such a function. He swung out a palm, but the opponent dodged it as expected. The one-armed Moji even took the opportunity to give him an uppercut. Lan Guanghong took a punch, but nothing happened. He was just a bit worried about his face. "Hey, secretary over there." He suddenly turned to Izzy and shouted, "This is your company's product, right? Isn't there some way to force it to shut down remotely?" Izzy blinked, the headphone-like module lit up a few times, and replied, "I'm sorry, Shuang has disconnected from Satellite Z, and we can't operate it anymore. The only way to stop its function is to destroy it." Gone. After listening to Izzy's explanation, Lan Guanghong felt even more angry. "Grandma, you made such a terrifying thing but didn't leave a backdoor in the body. What kind of high technology do you think this is?" Lan Guanghong, who was filled with rage, no longer wanted to waste time with such rubbish. He turned his back to Moji, and when the opponent was about to attack, he pulled out his spinning sword fiercely, and struck out with his backhand. Clang. The scorching sword blade was like cutting tofu, easily cutting the demon machine in half that was not prepared for this move. However, he still couldn't understand his hatred, and swung the sword to cut it back and forth, until he chopped the opponent into a piece of waste before he managed to dissipate it. On fire. Who after taking a few deep breaths, Lan Guanghong turned around and saw 0-1 pressing the magic machine to the ground, but it was not fighting, but talking. "Wake up, Mamoru, didn't you say it's your duty to protect this company? Think of it quickly." That the magic machine struggled fiercely, but the long fangs that it could use to launch special attacks were interrupted, and it could not escape 0-1 suppression for a while. "Mamoru. Aren't we family? Please wake up. You should wake up. Isn't it time to grab a robot and leave it here to act like a robot?" Lan Guanghong angrily kicked the intruder away, raised his hand and stabbed the robot in the chest, which was unable to escape. In the belly, the energy exploded, and the magic machine immediately exploded into pieces. The broken parts hit 0-1's visor, and Feidian or someone stood there stunned, looking at the debris on the ground in disbelief. Why? Feidian or someone suddenly shouted to him, "Why do you do such an outrageous thing? Mamoru did something wrong." Blue light red. He slowly took a deep breath, and then his feet suddenly erupted, leaving a shallow pit on the ground, and he rushed towards 0-1 with an afterimage. In response to the other party's surprise, he held down his face and slammed him to the ground. Boom. Debris flew, and some people couldn't help but scream in pain. "Ah, it hurts." The vital parts were hit hard, and even with the protection of the armor, he felt dizzy and even his limbs were a little inoperable. "Sir!" Izzy shouted slightly loudly when he saw that someone was being attacked, but as a secretary robot, she was programmed to not participate in the battle, so she could only stand aside and watch. Lan Guanghong ignored her, lowered his head in front of Feidian or Ran, and said coldly, "You are not worthy of being a Kamen Rider at all." As he spoke, he grabbed 0-1's belt with his other hand. "Go back to where you belong, Feidian or someone else." Creak, Click. The 01 drive made a series of heart-wrenching sounds, and was crushed into a piece of scrap metal by the blue light and red. The transformation was forcibly released, and he let go of his hand, turned around and walked outside. Cough, cough. Feidian coughed twice in pain, and shouted to the figure in a hoarse voice, "Who are you?" "It's just a passing Kamen Rider, remember it for me." "Ah, I will definitely remember you." He looked at the Black Knights disappearing back, with angry flames igniting in his eyes. "Wow, it's rare to see you so angry. The last time I saw you with this expression was when I knew about Tang Bo's evil deeds. It's not to that extent. After all, Tang Bo is really not a human being. This guy is just too stupid to be human." Blu-ray Red, who returned to his human appearance, slowly walked back to the team while chatting with Faria. The one yesterday, and the two today are wearing something similar to a belt and a key, which shows that there is something behind the scenes again. What a Black Hand drama. Indeed, how is it? Do you want to investigate? No, I think it would be better to just let Feidian go bankrupt and eliminate dangerous things like Humagia. Lan Guanghong spread his hands. After all, if there is no terrorist organization, there will be others, but the only one who can build Magia is Feidian. What's more, such a dangerous thing doesn't even have any insurance measures. I seriously doubt that there is something wrong with Feidian. That makes sense, eh? Where are you going? Faria asked in surprise. Where to go, of course, get in the car and go back to the dormitory. Faria. Don't you think you forgot someone? Lan Guanghong frowned, suddenly enlightened. Ah, Captain Fua. Chapter 94, Machine Girl's idea. Bupo had a dream. In the dream, he returned to that desperate moment. The overwhelming magic machine attacked people like a colony of ants. People's screams and wails lingered in their ears for a long time, and it seemed that even the air was dyed bloody red. When he was a child, Fua huddled in the classroom, desperately watching the magic machine break the window and attack him. Kill all humans. Don't want. Boom. The mysterious warrior descended from the sky and half-crouched in front of Bupo to protect him behind him. Although its body is black, its body emits warm and bright light like the sun. This light dispersed all the evil demons in the Scarlet World, returning the world to its former appearance. It doesn't matter. The young Bupo blinked, not knowing when he was held in the arms of this black warrior. He saw a dazzling red light flashing in the eyes of the mysterious warrior. I will change the fate of the world. The destiny of the world. His eyelashes trembled twice, and Bupo slowly opened his eyes. What came into view was the blue-red handsome face and his tattered shirt. Wait, this angle is a princess hug. What are you doing? Bupo's shocked old face turned red and he quickly jumped out of Lan Guanghong's arms. Lan Guanghong frowned and took 2 steps back while covering the place where Bupo pushed her. Not broken. When he took a closer look, he noticed that the exposed skin inside the blue and red tattered tactical uniform was bruised and purple, and he was obviously seriously injured. You, what are you? Bupogian was greatly shocked. It doesn't matter. Lan Guanghong waved his hand weakly and showed a desperate smile. It's just a couple of moves with the magic machine to save the captain. Oh, speaking of it, this kind of magic machine is really difficult to deal with. Even I can only draw with it. Cough, cough. He bent down and coughed twice, and Bupo hurriedly came up to support him. Hey, Guanghong, are you okay? It's okay, just take a rest. Halfway through his words, he suddenly rolled his eyes and fainted leaning on Fu Ba's shoulder. Guanghong, cheer up. Bupo picked up Lan Guanghong and rushed to the assembly point quickly. At the same time, the growing guilt in his heart made him feel uncomfortable. When he fainted, he didn't see the enemy and thought it was Lan Guanghong suddenly attacking from behind. At that time, he regretted not listening to the words of the blade. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be Mog's fault, and Lan Guanghong suffered such serious injuries in order to protect him who fainted. Hateful. Don't break it, you obviously have that thing, you are obviously the most powerful person in the team, but you let a new member of the team suffer such a big crime for you. You even pushed him just now. What peace of mind can there be? I'm sorry. Bupo muttered all the way, it's all my fault. Bupo didn't see it. The corners of Lan Guanghong's mouth lying on his back kept twitching, and it was very difficult to endure, from a perspective that ordinary people couldn't see. Faria laughed heartily and cursed a few words about being inappropriate from time to time. Chapter 64. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah ha ha, that Bupa is so funny. Faria stood in front of the bed seriously, imitating Fupa's appearance yesterday and said, Blue team member, how is your injury? Are there any missing items? You're welcome, feel free to tell the captain. Ha ha ha, it really made me laugh so hard, just like a little girl who fell in love for the first time. Faria laughed so hard when she thought of Bupo's appearance that day. A pair of round hemispheres hung tremblingly in front of the blue light. Lan Guanghong reluctantly put down the basic structural diagram of Zamagia in his hand, raised his eyes and said, I said, is it that funny? Faria was silent for a while, then suddenly pouted. Hey, Guanghong, it's so boring. She floated to the bed and looked like she was lying on Lan Guanghong. Shall we go out and play? Don't make trouble, I'm a patient now. Lan Guang gave her a red and white look. Also, do you think I would believe that you, a devil who can live forever with just a TV, will be bored? Tell me, what do you want to do? Hey, you saw through it. Faria put her chin in her hands and crossed her legs and smiled. I suddenly had an idea. If it's difficult to simply repair Timmons's belt, what about combining the belt with Humagia? Lan Guanghong's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he quickly put aside the structure of the two in his mind. Well, it seems feasible. But there are a few difficulties. Lan Guanghong thought for a while and said, you have to think about it, you can't eat anything with the body of Zyomagi Atom. You can only eat fried chicken or something like that. I can smell it. It doesn't matter, it's much better than now. Faria spread her hands and said, and if I have a body, you will feel much better, right? Blue light red. Well, these problems should be solved by the blade consultant. I'll go ask her now. Lan Guanghong got up from the bed and strode out of the medical room. However, the technical consultant Renwia is not in the unit now. After asking insiders, I learned that she has gone. Really sushi restaurant? Blu-ray Red has never found sushi to be delicious, mainly because the portion is too small and it doesn't have the satisfying feeling of filling your mouth. Well, actually it's because it's expensive. With his appetite, if he were to eat sushi, he would probably be able to eat Ames's military expenditure for a year. What? AMS won't pay for him? Then you have to see if the captain thinks so, but Blu-ray Red doesn't really eat all-you-can-eat sushi. Arriving at the door of the store, Lan Guanghong didn't think much, opened the door and shouted, Consultant Blade, huh? In the old-fashioned Japanese-style shop, besides Benwia, there were two familiar people, Izzy, Feidian, or people. Blu-ray's red eyebrows raised slightly. Why are you everywhere? And the sushi maker is, Zamagia? Blue team member, why are you here? Basuya asked doubtfully while holding up the phone to inject data into Zamagia. I have something to ask, but there's no rush now. Lan Guanghong ignored the flight crew over there, sat down next to her and asked, what are you doing? Show this young president how to use Zamagia. As she spoke, she finished transferring the data and said to Zamagia, who was wearing a chef's uniform, you can make me any sushi. Give me one too. Lan Guanghong stretched out his hand and shouted. Okay. The sushi-shaped Shumagia, Kiriro responded and quickly made a piece of sushi and placed it in front of Basua. Please, this is handcrafted, tuna naked sushi. It tastes like soy sauce. Renwi couldn't wait to pick up the sushi and put it in his mouth, with an expression on his face that was like an aphrodisiac. Well, it's so delicious. Huh? Is it really so delicious? Feidian or someone on the side asked in surprise. However, Benwia didn't answer him, he just frowned and looked at Ichigoro, who seemed to be stuck. Quanjilang looked at the blue light and read, his CPU almost burned out, and he couldn't analyze what kind of sushi this person would like. Finally, he used the analogy method to compare several people with similar characteristics to the blue light and red, and then held out a piece of sushi and placed it in front of him. Salmon sushi, please. Lan Guanghong frowned, crossed his chest and shook his head with a very dissatisfied expression. No, not at all, that while others were puzzled, in the gleaming eyes of the shop owner and master chef, Lan Guanghong said in a shocked voice, this kind of sushi has no soul. Chapter 95, Don't break. Break up. Soul. The old shopkeeper asked Lan Guanghong excitedly, can you understand that? Well, of course I understand. Lan Guanghong stood up and said impassionedly, in the ancient country in the Far East, there is such a saying. There is no god of food in this world, or everyone is a god of food. As long as you use your heart. At this point, he tapped his chest, and then pointed at Iguanjiro, but Shio Magia has no heart. So, they won't understand the true meaning of delicious food. Okay. Feeling the resonance from Lan Guanghong's words, the old shop owner couldn't help but clapped his hands. As long as you work hard, everyone can be a god of food. No, that's not it. Seeing that the business of promoting Zimagia was about to decline, someone hurriedly explained, although I have no intention, the sushi made by Naguro is very delicious. At least you should try it. It seems you still don't understand. Lan Guanghong shook his head, walked around to the workbench, picked up the chef's uniform and hat from the cabinet, and put them on. His whole aura changed. Let me show you what delicious food made with care will look like. That everyone present was infected by his aura, and their expressions became solemn. Hi-hoo. Breathing a sigh of relief, Lan Guanghong slowly closed his eyes, then suddenly opened them again, his pupils bursting with luster like a tiger. He grabbed the required ingredients with one hand and threw them into the sky. The kitchen knife swished as he cut the ingredients into the desired state. After the ingredients fell on the sticky board, he sprinkled some soy sauce, then used the airbrush to control the heat with one hand, and kneaded the rice with the other hand. Finally, he put his hands together to combine the two, and then wrapped it with a thin layer of seaweed. Done. Secret happy sushi. That he placed the finished sushi on the counter, wiped away the non-existent sweat, and looked like he was working hard with great care. The old shopkeeper, Benwia, and the Haydn duo looked at the sushi and were so stunned that they couldn't speak. Even Iguanlang opened his mouth, as if he had never seen this scene before. How about it? You are stunned by my cooking skills. Blu-ray Red held something as big as a football in his hands. It was more like a rice bag than sushi, and Ham took a bite. Well, that's it. This pleasure of filling your mouth is so addictive, that he covered his bulging cheeks filled with rice and showed a happy expression. Old shopkeeper. Get out. You all get out of here. Before suffering a heart attack, the old shop owner kicked out all the uninvited guests. The person whose business was disrupted left with his secretary and boss in frustration. Lan Guanghong also shook his head with regret. Hey, the old shop owner doesn't know the pearls. This is so delicious. He took another big bite and handed it to Bladia next to him. Counselor Blade, try it. Renwia showed a forced smile and waved her hand to indicate that she didn't have to. Team Blue, what do you want from me? Can you tell me now? Oh, actually, it's about the structure of Humagia. I have a few questions that I don't quite understand. I want to ask you. Lan Guanghong brought up a few points that he didn't understand, and Benwia raised his eyebrows. Have you studied Zimagia so deeply? Hey, as the saying goes, only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you win every battle. Lan Guanghong made up casually. In the final analysis, the magic machine is essentially a Zimagia that has completely let go of functional restrictions. The basic structure will not change. The more you understand, the deeper it will be. No harm done. Well, you did a good job. Renwia happily sent him several documents, clearing up his doubts. This is normal, because the core thing of this kind of machine is its unique algorithm that can recognize and imitate humans, which cannot be learned by others. In comparison, a machine body that is just an algorithm carrier is much easier to crack. If Feidian had not owned the patent, other technology companies would have been able to create a bunch of knockoffs. Therefore, this kind of information is not precious, and there is nothing wrong with using it to help current teammates. After receiving the information, Lan Guanghong said excitedly, "Thank you so much, Sister Ren, I'll treat you to a barbecue." "No, no need." Renwei stretched out his hand to decline. Just when he was about to find a reason to leave, he heard "I'll treat you next time," and then the people around him disappeared. Bladia. Blu-ray and Red returned home like an arrow. It can be said that they don't hear what is going on outside the window, and they only want to squeeze their wives. However, God always fails. Attention all team members, a magic machine has appeared. Everyone must gather at the fountain square. Received, received, received. Lan Guanghong also subconsciously took out her mobile phone and responded, "Copy that." "Team Blue, are you okay?" A voice of surprise came from the other side of the phone. Lan Guanghong was stunned for a moment, then raised his hand and hit his head hard. "Gone. What should I say? I am still a patient now. It's great now, I can't hide." He had no choice but to bite the bullet and reply, "Well, it's okay. I just met with the Blade consultant and will rush to the scene immediately." "No, where are you? I'll send someone to pick you up." Blue light red. Soon after, the last blue team member to arrive got out of the car and saw his comrades lying on the ground in a mess. Not far away, Buha was fighting alone with the squid-shaped magic machine with his unique little pistol, while Benwia was hiding behind a car and Omo. This familiar scene inspired Lan Guanghong's DNA, and he immediately shouted, "Advisor Blade, why are you just watching? Did you really betray me?" Bladia, who was taking pictures with her mobile phone, was startled and suddenly turned her head to look at Lan Guanghong. "How did you know I was a spy?" Blu-ray Red. "Good guy, I'm afraid there's something wrong with this reaction." "It's none of her business, it's my order." Bupo suddenly opened his mouth to defend the blade. He rolled to avoid the whip thrown by Squid and took out a blue key. "I will resolve this battle myself." "No, you haven't got my permission yet." Blade shouted. "Shut up." Bupo violently broke the unauthorized key, his face turned red from suppressing it. Zumagia is a killing machine. He used words to stimulate himself, releasing his strength further. "I will kill all of the Zumagia without leaving a single one alive." Yuhu. Click. Chapter 65. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The locked key was forcefully opened by Bupo with a crisp sound. Renwei's eyes widened in shock. It's fake. Nothing can stop me, this is my rule." Bupo suddenly inserted the key into the AMS shooting sublimator, then raised the gun and pulled the trigger without hesitation. Shot rise, shooting sublimation. The golden bullet flew out, hit the magic machine, then turned and flew back. Bupo hit the bullet with a punch, and it turned into a piece of white and blue armor on the spot and wrapped around him. Shooting wolf. Transformed. Benwia quickly picked up her phone and continued recording. Fua-san has successfully transformed into Kamen Rider, Violacn, Barkin. Not just like the title, I know what plot to write next, but I'm so dizzy that I can't figure it out. I don't want to force a whole chapter to deal with the gentleman in this state. Sorry, I'll find an opportunity to make up for it later. In addition, according to the master's choice, starting from tomorrow, the day's updates will be coded and released together. The update time will be around 11 o'clock. Good night. Chapter 96 The Dangerous Humajaya. Kamen Rider Barkin. Blu-ray Red excitedly ran to Basuia's side and OMO together. Looks awesome, come on, Captain. Of course it's powerful. This is my favorite work. It can improve the Transformers' reaction and physical strength to a level even higher than that of Humagia. Basua explained while recording the video. It was you, Sister Ren, who did it. Lan Guanghong's face was shocked, the corners of Basuia's mouth raised slightly, showing a proud smile. It's amazing. Can you give me one too? Renwei changed his face in a second and said coldly, No, you don't have enough authority. TCH, you're so stingy. Lan Guanghong muttered in a low voice, turning his eyes towards Barkin, but inwardly he was thinking about how to get a similar belt for himself. It seems that both 01 and Barkin have a system that strengthens reactions so that the body can keep up with the analytical capabilities of the magic machine. This is exactly what Blu-ray Red currently lacks, so if you want to fight happily, the transformation device here is more suitable, but it was obvious that neither Basidon nor Feidian could give him the belt. It seemed that he had to find a way. He looked thoughtfully at Barkin's waist. Compared to 01, Barkin's battles are much crisper. Although there are differences in performance, it is more about Bupo's ruthless character towards demons, which makes his fighting style full of destructiveness. Just like the secret key it uses, it looks like a wild wolf showing its fangs and biting its opponent madly. Not long after the fight, the squid-shaped magic machine was beaten back steadily, and several of its tentacles were shot off, and it was about to fall into defeat. But at this moment, the magic machine suddenly sprayed out a large piece of rich black ink, covering his figure. When the black fog disappeared, it had disappeared into place. Here comes the classic smoke escape technique. TSK, did you run away? Bu transformed, and then ran to the fallen team members to check their conditions. The result was very gratifying. There were no serious injuries or deaths, just they all have to go into the medical room. Bupo came to the conclusion and looked up at the approaching Lan Guanghong and Basuya and said, "It seems that the task of searching for the magic machine can only be done by the three of us." "No problem, we will definitely find the magic machine." Lan Guanghong patted his chest and responded. After calling an ambulance to take away their teammates, the three of them temporarily separated according to their respective search areas. Lan Guanghong directly searched for a relatively high roof and opened his detection eyes to detect enemies. Yes, after using this ability once, it can also be used in a human state, but the effect is not as strong as after the transformation. But for this kind of search, like looking for a needle in a haystack, the difference is not big. To his surprise, he didn't find the magic machine, but he saw Feidian and Izzy walking down the street with a notebook. "Huh? What do you want to do by running to the sushi restaurant?" "Maybe I still want to sell Himeji to Zenshin Sushi Restaurant." Faria floated out with a puzzled expression on her face. "That guy is the president, why do you have to do the sales in person?" "Who knows, maybe you want to experience the hardships at the bottom." Lan Guanghong looked at it for a while, not knowing why, but always felt that something bad might happen. "As expected, I already know how to convince the store manager." Feidian clapped his hands and said excitedly, "Izzy, let Nero come over, let's go to Zenshin Sushi Restaurant again." "My lord, I must remind you that your duty as president is to deal with the threat of the magic machine, not to do grassroots sales work." "Hey, but the 01 drive hasn't been repaired yet." Mentioning this, someone's expression became a little sad. "Izzy, can't Satellite Z make a new one?" "Unfortunately, sir, you currently only have permission to use the 01 drive and do not have manufacturing permission." "I'm obviously the president." Someone made a funny face. "Sir." Izzy wanted to persuade him again, but was interrupted by someone with a playful smile. "Okay, expanding the company's business is also one of the president's jobs, isn't it?" "I am fulfilling the duties of the president now." "Responsibilities. Is that so?" Izzy tilted her head, and the aperture on the headset moved back and forth twice. "I understand, Ikuk and Goring will be here soon." The secretary with a simple thinking algorithm was convinced. Soon, sushi-type Shimeji met the two, went to the seafood market to pick up a lot of sushi ingredients, and finally drove to the Zenshin Sushi Restaurant. At this time, it was already early in the morning of the next day. TSK, young people are really energetic. Lan Guanghong, who had a bad premonition, had been staring at them not far away for half a day and a night. Because he was tracking through the building with a perspective eye, he had not been discovered. However, after so much time, nothing happened. Lan Guanghong began to doubt whether there was something wrong with his sixth sense, and decided to follow them for the last stop. If there was still nothing to find, he would continue to look for the magic machine. Leaning against the wall of the sushi restaurant, Lan Guanghong listened to the movement inside, ready to break through the wall at any time. However, the situation inside was unexpectedly harmonious. based on the information obtained from the old shop owner's apprentices. Oren analyzed that the apprentices all broke down and left because they could not stand the old shop owner's high pressure. On the contrary, Ikuta Gyro took advantage of the fact that he had no heart and would not break down, and started to talk nonsense. Finally, Gyro successfully persuaded him with the Sky Heart Girdle technique full of the old shop owner's sincerity. TSK, the thinking ability of the Shimegia is a bit like that of humans. Lan Guanghong frowned and thought, this is not a good thing, because it is too similar to humans, and even superior to humans in all aspects. Then, what do humans need to do? The old shop owner is a good example. He is old and his skills have no successors. In the end, the successor of the shop turned out to be a Shimegia. This kind of thing must have happened before, and it can be predicted that there will be no less such cases in the future. So, when more and more people are replaced by Shimegia, is this a human world or a Shimegia world? Not to mention, there are also magic machines that directly threaten human life. It's really scary, Feidian. Lan Guanghong looked at the location of Feidian building from a distance. At this moment, his pupils suddenly shrank. I saw the overwhelming cables in the sky flying down, accurately piercing every normal working Shimegia nearby, and these Shimegia screamed, their skins burst open and grew visors, turning into miscellaneous soldiers and magic machines. One of them even penetrated the ceiling of this sushi restaurant, and soon the old owner's terrified cry came from inside. Not good. Lan Guanghong broke through the wall without hesitation, and after seeing the situation inside, he kicked directly and kicked the transformed miscellaneous soldier and magic machine through the wall and flew out. Stop! Feidian Oren reached out and grabbed Lan Guanghong, who was about to chase the magic machine, and said excitedly, Wulong finally got the boss's approval, do you want to destroy him? Fuck! Lan Guanghong was eager to save people and didn't want to entangle with Oren, so he raised his hand and cut his neck with a palm, knocking him unconscious. Chapter 97, Haydn Oren arrest. Coming out of the sushi restaurant, in just a dozen seconds, the street had turned into a purgatory-like scene. A dozen of miscellaneous magic machines holding sharp blades marched at a rapid pace, chasing and killing every human in sight, with cries and wails ringing out. Not far from a magic machine, a group of children gathered there crying and shouting in confusion, and the sound quickly attracted its attention. Kill humans. The ferocious magic machine kept repeating this sentence, rushing towards the group of children with a knife. Damn magic machine. Blue Light Red ran at high speed, stopped the magic machine before the blade swung down, then clamped the magic machine's head with his arms and twisted it hard, completely destroying its internal information transmission structure, and the magic machine immediately fell down with sparks on its neck. After dealing with the magic machine, he immediately took the group of children to a safe place nearby, and then went to the next person who needed rescue without stopping. Similar scenes occurred continuously in the small street, and cries for help were faintly heard outside the street. Lan Guanghong was anxious, but he lacked the unparalleled skills that could clear a group of enemies at once, and he couldn't clear them all by fighting like this. Damn, if there is such a method. Bang! A loud bang came from behind Lan Guanghong, and the bullet passed through his side and directly pierced the chest of a magic machine. There is the power core there, and hitting this part can also stop the magic machine from moving, and, the sound of the gunshot, the power of the bullet. He turned his head in surprise. Captain, you come, Blade Consultant, why is it you? What's so strange? This is made by me, of course I have it too. Blade Wei came to his side, holding a gun and shooting a few more magic machines, and the huge movement attracted all the magic machines nearby. However, this is exactly her purpose. It has been confirmed that the special law on artificial intelligence has been violated. He took out the orange-yellow key from his waist, turned it around in his palm a few times in a way that could make Newton angry enough to lift the lid of the urn, and gently pressed the button, dash. Insert the key into the sublimation gun on the waist, and then pull the trigger. Rushing blast. The bullets turned into orange and white armor, and stuck to Blade Wea as he ran. Kamen Rider, Valkyrie. After the transformation, Blade Wea rushed through the group of magic machines at an extremely high speed, while continuously firing bullets to destroy the magic machines, and soon cleared all the magic machines that were free nearby. Finally, she activated her ultimate move and accumulated a powerful bomb, destroying the gathered magic machines in one blow. The battle is over. After canceling the transformation, Blade Wei nodded to Blue Light Red and said, "Let's go. Fuwa has destroyed the Belemnite Squid magic machine, and this incident has been resolved." Blue Light Red, what's going on? I feel like I'm the only one who can't do it. I'm obviously the strongest one among the three of us. Wait for me a moment. Under Blade Wei's puzzled gaze, Blue Light Red ran back to the sushi restaurant, and soon dragged the still unconscious Orin out. Behind him, Izzy followed closely. "Mr. Lan Guanghong, where are you taking our president?" "Of course, take him back to our AMS," he said without looking back. "Bringing such a dangerous magic machine to the sushi boss, no matter how you think about it, it is suspected of intentional homicide, so I want to arrest him." "Mr. Lan Guanghong, according to the special law on artificial intelligence, you AIMS do not have the right to arrest humans." "Oh, so what?" Lan Guanghong turned his head and showed a provocative smile. "I said arrest, arrest. I am the rule. Renwei. Another fupa. This guy is not going to break the key too." Chapter 66. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After an unknown amount of time, Feidian Huoren woke up, only to find that everything around him was dark. Where is this? He shook left and right in panic, only to find that his body was tightly bound and his hands were tied together by cold metal rings. This couldn't be. He had a very bad feeling. "Izzy, where are you? Give up, your Izzy can't save you now." With a click, Lan Guanghong pressed the switch of the desk lamp, and then turned the lamp head to let it shine directly on Feidian Huoren's face. Feidian Huoren instinctively shrank his head and closed his eyes, but the words that sounded in his ears were like thunder, which shocked him and made him stretch his head and stare. "Haydn Orto, I am now interrogating you on suspicion of intentional homicide." What? I intentionally killed someone. Haydn Orto, who was experiencing this kind of scene for the first time, was completely panicked. He shook his head like a rattle and retorted, "No. How could I do such a horrible thing? My dream is to bring laughter to people." "So, at 8:13 this morning, you brought a Humagia named Ikan to visit the true sushi restaurant, but at 8:21, Ikan turned into a magic machine and attacked the owner." "Pa!" Lan Guanghong threw the file on the table and asked coldly, "How do you explain it?" "It's not our fault." Haydn Orto immediately explained, "It was the Destruction Thunder Station. They hacked into our Humagia and turned them into magic machines." Lan Guanghong remained silent. Feidian Orto said anxiously, "Please believe me, Humagia is a dream machine, and attacking humans is not their intention at all." "Enough. Dreaming is just your dream." Thinking of what happened today, Lan Guanghong angrily lifted Feidian Orto's collar and lifted him up with the chair. "For your ridiculous ideal, can you let these dangerous tools that can be easily hacked and may become murder weapons at any time run wild? Do you know how many people and families have been killed and destroyed by the dream machine you mentioned today? What do you think of the precious lives of humans, huh? Tell me." Feidian Orto, who learned that the magic machine actually caused casualties, was stunned by Lan Guanghong's words, and repeated in a low voice as if he was stupid, "No, no. Hey, Guanghong, Feidian's people are coming." Fupa's voice sounded in the dark space. "I know." Lan Guanghong responded, then put Feidian Orto down and untied him. During the process, he said the last words to Haydn Orto. "You should be thankful that I have a bottom line. I will not take human life unless it is absolutely necessary. But remember this, Humagia, Destruction Thunder, and your Haydn intelligence are all threats to humans in my opinion. One day, I will completely eliminate you." Chapter 98. Is this girl realistic? AMS does not have the right to arrest and interrogate humans, so Blue Light Red cannot really lock up Haydn Orto. Just after a few words, Haydn's people came to kill. What did you do to our president? Seeing Haydn Ordo's soul-destroying look, the vice president of Haydn Intelligence, Fukutsu Jun, questioned angrily, although he was dissatisfied with this young man who had no idea about the company's business, he was still the current president of their Haydn. People can fight among themselves, but not others. Fukutsu is in this mentality, however. Lan Guanghong was not afraid at all. He was AMS, a government armed violence agency, and he also had a temper. President Futian is right. I know I was wrong. He sat upright with a guilty look on his face, highlighting his obedience. Futian. This is not right. According to the normal process, shouldn't you yell here, don't question me. Vice President Futian. President Futian, I have severely criticized and punished our blue team member for privately arresting your president. I hope you don't mind. Bupo, who was sitting next to Lan Guanghong, bowed his head slightly to hide his strange expression. It's the vice president. Futian first emphasized his position, and then asked in confusion, what kind of punishment is it? From today on, he is no longer a member of our AIMS. Bupo's voice was low, and Lan Guanghong looked sad. Futian was dumbfounded. I haven't said anything yet, and you fired him? Do I care so much about my face? Not long after, Fukutsuji, who looked confused, left AIMS with the depressed Oren. Before leaving, he even promised to give them a Shimegia without an intelligent system for research. Lan Guanghong and Fuwa stood at the door and watched the two leave. After the car disappeared from their sight, Lan Guanghong sighed, President Fukutsuji, you are such a good person. Also, Captain, you must have been holding back hard, now you can laugh. Woohoohoo. Fuwa suddenly covered his stomach and laughed loudly, and Lan Guanghong was afraid that he would spit out all the food he had eaten. Hey, don't be so exaggerated. He patted Fuwa's back to help him calm down. At this time, technical consultant Renwia just went out. Seeing Fupa's appearance, he asked in confusion, Team Blue, what's Fupa doing? No longer a Team Blue. Lan Guanghong raised his thumb and pointed at himself. Lan Guanghong, never lie. If I say I'm not a team member, then I'm not a team member. From today on, please call me Vice Captain Blue. Ahahaha. Fupa laughed even harder. Renwia. Lan Guanghong, who was promoted to Vice Captain, has been staying in the dormitory for several days because of the recurrence of his old injury. Of course, this is what he said to the outside world. In fact, Lan Guanghong was afraid that Futian would find out that he was playing a double act with Fupa, and he would not give him the promised Shimegia. That would be a big loss. Lan Guanghong wanted to use this Shimegia without a system as a body for Faria. Originally, his idea was to piece together one with the scrap machines in the warehouse, but now he has fooled an original perfect body, so it is definitely better to use this one. However, he was not idle these days. Taking advantage of this time, he looked at the information about the Haydn intelligence group and captured several key information. For example, the explosion in Dawn Town 12 years ago was caused by an operational error by a Haydn employee named Satoshi Sakurai according to online records. Lan Guanghong sneered at this. Can the error of an employee cause a place called a town, but actually a city, to completely explode and sink? It would be more credible to say that a group of terrorists took a high-powered bomb and died with the town. In short, there must be something wrong with this explosion. Another piece of information is that he found the information of the second generation of Haydn, that is, the son of Haydn Karenasuk and the father of Oren. His name is Haydn Kiyo, but he is a Shimegia. Now, Lan Guanghong can understand a little bit why Haydn Oren treats those Shimegia as family members. It turns out that when he was a child, Oren was raised by Shimegia, and the existence record of Haydn Kiyo obviously does not match the age of Shimegia. It is very likely that something unexpected happened, such as protecting the young Oren in a crisis, but he himself exploded, which made Oren form his current personality. However, understanding is understanding, he still cannot accept the practice of placing Shimegia above humans. When Haydn and his son were young, they lived in Dawn Town. Lan Guanghong released the mouse, dragged his chin with both hands, and the lenses of his glasses reflected the light of wisdom. It seems that it is necessary to investigate there. Ding dong, a text message popped up on the mobile phone on the table. Lan Guanghong glanced at it and retracted his gaze. Wait. He picked up the phone and took a closer look. Yes, it was indeed a package sent by hidden intelligence. Hey, Faria, your body has arrived. Are you excited? Are you happy? I am a little happy, but you seem to be more excited than me. A little bit. Lan Guanghong carried the huge box into the warehouse like a whirlwind, and couldn't wait to dismantle it, revealing a brand new body of Zaya Magia inside. Very good, I'm going to start. He pinched his fingers and pushed the various instruments that had been prepared. First, the diamond's belt was disassembled and the special components inside were transferred to the Zaya Magia. The first step was also the most difficult step. Just in case, Lan Guanghong had simulated it many times in advance, and this time it was completed without any surprise. The next thing was simple, which was to set the appearance of this body. He carefully operated the machine left here by Ren Wei to adjust the appearance for Faria. Soon, Faria, who was watching, frowned. Hey, is that too much? Are my breasts that big? Yes, do you think you are stupid because of the airport? I set it according to your body shape. Faria. Just that one time, you know me through. Of course, my hands are the most standard measuring tools. Lan Guanghong proudly raised his arms to Faria. Faria, the machine has started to operate normally, and the next is the most exciting and anxious waiting time. After waiting for nearly 2 hours, the machine finally printed the last nail. Without waiting for Lan Guanghong to urge, Faria took the initiative to fly into the body of the machine. The next moment, Faria, who has a machine body and a demon soul, suddenly opened her eyes. Well, it worked. She sat up, groping the devilish body with both hands, and said in surprise, the touch of the skin is just like the real thing. It's great. Yeah. What are you doing? Don't move, let me check if your body is realistic enough. Chapter 99. Semperson's head is amazing in making dads. How is it? Are you satisfied? The enchanting demon slowly pulled up the close-fitting silk fabric, and finally raised the fingers hooked on the edge of the clothes slightly, letting the semi-transparent black snap on the smooth and white belly. The taste is hard, and there is no taste. So. The blue light red thumb rubbed across the jaw, and the corner of the mouth curled. The body before was better. I thought so too, but there is no way, it can only be like this for now. After putting on the coat, Phalia lifted her light golden hair behind her, revealing her delicate and small ears. Since there is no need to connect to the satellite, the earphone-shaped connector was also removed. Now Faria looks no different from an ordinary person. However, her physical fitness is much better than when she used the diamond's belt to transform into a human form. Yeah, her figure is also better. With a little effort, she jumped nearly 3 meters high, stepped on the window of the warehouse, turned around and blew a kiss to Lan Guanghong. I'm leaving first, wait for my news. Mua. Chapter 67. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Well, be careful, don't let them find you. I know. Waving her hand, Faria jumped out of the window and disappeared in front of Lan Guanghong. Lan Guanghong was a little worried, so she also jumped onto the window. Only after she saw her figure pass through the patrol personnel and surveillance and leave the base safely, did she breathe a sigh of relief and walk out of the warehouse as if nothing had happened. Next, she had to wait patiently for her to find a place to live, and then move out to meet her. After all, we can't live together in the dormitory of AMS. Even if we are not afraid of being found out, we have to consider the feelings of those single dogs. Very good, Faria's work is done, and it's time to do business next. Lan Guanghong took out his mobile phone and turned on the navigation. Destination, the old site of Dawn Town. At the same time, in a dim and empty office, Ren Wei bowed his head slightly, respectfully waiting for new instructions. You did a good job, Wei. The young man in white clothes sitting in the boss chair turned back to the chair with an inexplicable smile on his face. On the large desk in front of him was a wooden nameplate with the words, President, Tianjin Gai. That person named Lan Guanghong. With our power of ZIYA, we can't find out his origins at all. It's interesting. As he said that, Tianjin Gai took out a box, opened it and put it on the table. Weia, find a way to give him this key. Ren Wei took the key in the box with both hands, and his pupils shrank slightly after seeing the pattern on it. This is it. Tianjin Gai frowned slightly. What? Is there a problem? Nothing, I will finish it as soon as possible. Ren Wei took the key and quickly left the office. In the office that had returned to calm, Tianjin Gai supported his hands on the table with his fingers interlaced, and a happy expression appeared on his face. A new tool has appeared, and now my plan has another chess piece. But it's not enough. The winning rate I want is 10% head, 1000%. That the entrance to Dawn Town, standing in front of the no entry sign, Lan Guanghong and Fua Jian looked at each other in bewilderment. Why are you here? X2. Well, I read the report and thought this place was a bit suspicious, so I came to investigate. Lan Guanghong turned his eyes to the child standing next to Fua. Is this your son? What a joke. I'm not married yet. Fua reacted violently and explained with a red face. Lan Guanghong suddenly realized. Oh, not married, but have a child, understand. I didn't expect the captain to be such a person. Fua. ITM. This child is the son of Sakurai Satoshi, who caused the accident in Dawn Town, Sakurai Go, and has nothing to do with Fua. Ren Wei walked out from another direction, looked at the people in front of him and said, also, I remember that you should not have obtained permission to enter here. No, it's related. Fua suddenly put his arm around Sakurai Go's shoulders. Ren Wei heard this and immediately stared with eyes wide open in astonishment, looking stupid. Lan Guanghong's eyes shone brightly. Oh my goodness, this is a big melon. In the eyes of the two people who were horrified and excited, Fua looked ahead and said in a heavy tone, he and I are both victims of the accident. Until now, 14 years have passed, and we still know nothing about the accident. Our lives have been turned upside down by the Dawn accident. At this point, he looked at Ren Wei affectionately. I want to know the truth. Lan Guanghong, Ren Wei, so it's this kind of relationship. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief, but Ren Wei was relieved, while Lan Guanghong was bored. It seems that I can't stop you. After learning the truth, Ren Wei smiled slightly, took out a key and threw it to Fua, and then threw the box in his hand to Lan Guanghong. Lan Guanghong. He took the box and opened it. Inside was a shooting sublimator and a matching belt, as well as an upgrade key. Sister Ren. He raised his head in surprise. I'll lend it to you temporarily. Remember to return it to me when you come back. Ren Wei turned around and left in style, waving her hand and leaving a sentence, good luck to you. Good luck to you, that's not what she would say. Fua tightened the big bag on her shoulder and said to Lan Guanghong, since you are here, let's go together. Be careful to take good care of Xiang. Okay. The group came to the big lake formed by the explosion. Fua, who was well prepared, opened the package and took out an inflatable electric hovercraft. Just as Lan Guanghong was sighing that the captain was thoughtful, a group of uninvited guests suddenly appeared. Oh no, it should be the three of them who were the uninvited guests. There are intruders. Kill them all. A group of miscellaneous soldiers and magic machines came towards them from all directions with knives. They really concealed something. Fua was angry. He had always suspected that Feidian was behind the Dawn accident. Now that the magic machine appeared here, it was almost clear that there was indeed something hidden in the accident. He pulled out his sublimation gun and shot down several approaching magic machines. Lan Guanghong also drew his gun and joined the battle. The two fought side by side, protecting the boy tightly behind them. Just as the two were dealing with the magic machines tacitly, a reckless figure suddenly broke into the battlefield and was almost knocked down by Buhua's gun. Ah! How dangerous! President of Feidian, what are you doing here? Bupo shouted at the visitor, is it really to hide those shameful things? No. I want to know the truth too. Feidian or someone took out the repaired belt and put it on his waist. Bupo opened his eyes wide in surprise. That belt, so you were the smelly locust that day? Blu-ray read. Captain, you're itchy again, aren't you? Chapter 100. A machine that is not sad. I swear in the name of President Feidian that I will never hide the truth. And I will prove that Zamagia is a dream machine. Jump. Transform, that the locusts that fell from the sky jumped around randomly and then turned into 01's armor. Someone turned around and made gestures as usual. There is only one person who can stop you, and that's me. Mr. Fupa, let us be side by side this time. That some people looked at the hovercraft gradually driving away on the lake and fell into confusion, but soon, he was submerged in the incoming demonic machines and had no time to care about anything else. The hovercraft drove all the way to the ruins in the center of Dawn Town. This was originally the factory where Zamagia was manufactured, and it was also the starting point of the explosion. If there is a place where clues to the truth can be found, this is the most likely place. According to the map hanging in the corridor, the three people quickly found the control center of the factory. This is where my father works. The little boy Sakurego looked at this dilapidated small room, and the image of his father working hard here appeared in his mind. Look around, there may be some clues. The instrument was definitely not working, so Lan Guanghong and Bupo held guns on guard with one hand and rummaged through the room with the other, hoping to find some hardware that might store this data, but in this dark place full of gravel, how easy is it to find clues that may not even exist? So choose blue light and red, cheat. Detective I, that when the short distance perspective was opened, the entire floor was in front of his eyes. Soon, he saw something that looked like a memory card under the nearby rocks. Well, it really is. He held up the memory card pair and came to Bupa. Captain, there is something discovered. Oh, good job, Guanghong. Bupo took the memory card in his hand in surprise, took out the tablet and inserted it. Seeing this, Lan Guanghong couldn't help but sigh again. As expected of the captain, he was really well prepared. There is a video record in the memory card, which coincidentally was recorded by Sakurego's father, and what is recorded in it is the truth about Liming's accident. I am Satoshi Sakurai, the director of the No. 1 manufacturing factory of Humagia. Amidst the scarlet siren, a man with a broad back was operating something in front of the console. Judging from the style of the console, it was certain that the location was the control center behind them. Please leave here immediately, all the Zamagia in the factory are out of control. Sakurai Satoshi shouted this to the microphone, but the picture on the screen suddenly changed, and a strange symbol appeared, and a purple Kamen Rider. Humans, this is a holy war. The knight on the screen said emotionlessly, follow the will of the Thunder Station of Destruction. Destruction Thunder. Hearing this name, Lan Guanghong and Bupo looked at each other. Very good, now Death Thunder can be confirmed to be real. In the next video, Bupo saw the Purple Knight ordering the Humagias to destroy the city and kill everyone. His fists slowly clenched and made a clicking sound, and at the end, Sakuraigo burst into tears on the spot when he saw his father resolutely manage to blow up the place in order to prevent these rampaging Humagias from escaping and causing harm to mankind. Father. Woo-woo. In this way, things will become clear. Bupo stroked Sakuraigo's head. Your father is not a murderer, on the contrary, he is a real hero. Yes. Lan Guanghong stood up slowly, raised his gun and aimed at the magic machine coming out of the stairs, and said in a deep voice, don't worry, kid, we will make the truth known to the public and make your father's injustice clear. And if we destroy the Thunder Station, we will definitely destroy it. Bang! Gunshots rang out and the magic machine exploded. Soon, they worked together to deal with the surrounding enemies, but the battle did not end there. Boom! A big hole suddenly opened in the wall next to it, and the two men immediately turned their guns. Don't shoot, it's me, .01, who had changed into falcon form, lay on the ground and waved at them awkwardly. President. Bupo frowned. When he sailed the boat, he saw the fighting on the shore. The 01 miscellaneous soldiers were completely fine, and the embarrassment they were looking at now clearly indicated that they had encountered a strong enemy. Bupo's guess was correct, but the enemy that appeared next was beyond his expectation. Cha, with the sound of approaching footsteps, a purple knight walked through the hole created by 01 and appeared in front of them. His eyes were about to burst. Thunder of Destruction. Chapter 68. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The culprit who caused the Dawn accident showed up so openly. The angry Fua fired continuously, but the opponent did not dodge at all. The ordinary sublimation gun bullets hit him without any effect. Seeing this, Fua took out the gray key given to him by Lan Guanghong and squeezed both sides with both hands. With a light click, he inserted the key of forced authorization into the sublimation gun on his waist. Very good, I'll do it too. Lan Guanghong imitated his captain and held the purple key with both hands. Click, the key was broken open, and Lan Guanghong couldn't wait to insert it into the sublimation gun. However, the next moment, the scarlet arc burst on the sublimation gun, and Lan Guanghong's eyes went black in an instant. Next, he had a strange illusion. Although he was here, the world turned gray, and the speed of the people around him became extremely slow. Lan Guanghong could even see the saliva sprayed from Fua's mouth when he shouted Henshin. What's going on? Ugh! Scarlet fonts formed by strong malice suddenly emerged from all directions, and they wrapped Lan Guanghong in them, as if they wanted to eat him up. What the hell is this thing? Anger, struggle, murderous intent. Strong negative emotions were affected by malice and poured out from his heart, but Lan Guanghong still tried his best to endure the urge to destroy everything. Emperor Stone, what are you doing, Emperor Stone? Come out and do something. The Emperor Stone has the ability to be immune to all mental and superpower attacks, and can even allow people to retain their memories in abnormal time and space travel, but there is a prerequisite. It is this kind of attack, which it has seen before. Obviously, it has never seen the situation where the consciousness of the machine invades humans, but after all, it is the Emperor Stone, and after reacting, it immediately began to disperse it. Doing it, the Emperor Stone emits a faint red light. Blue light red felt relieved and waited patiently for the situation to return to normal, but as the malice was dispelled, bright yellow lines began to appear on his body, and the perspective gradually rose. Not long after, he watched himself turn into a steel giant about 2.5 meters tall and with an extremely strong body. Blue light red? What's going on? I haven't had time to feel sad yet. How come I became like this? Chapter 101 Burst. Mechanical Knight. Forget it, Agito is right, I will lose if I take it seriously. Anyway, let's try the strength of this posture first. The sad Prince Mechanical Knight raised his head and quickly found the location of Fua and the others. At this moment, Oren's falcon-shaped 01 was holding the little boy Sakurai and flying to the shore, leaving Fua alone to fight the Purple Knight. However, Fua in gorilla form was not the opponent of the Purple Knight. When Blue Light Red saw him, he was just pierced by the Purple Knight's ultimate move, and he was embarrassed to fall to the ground after the transformation was lifted. Blue Light Red, okay, now I can be sad, but I was very calm, and even wanted to take out my gun and shoot the Purple Knight. Just do it. Blue Light Red placed his right arm in front of his chest, and the gears in his belt turned rapidly, gathering energy in his hand. The gathered light finally formed the shadow of a gun, and finally materialized into a pistol as long as his forearm, full of mechanical feeling. Its name is Laserbreaker. Unlike the original weapon Vortex Shooter, when he evolved into the Mechanical Knight, he extracted data from the machine that intended to invade him. This made this gun, and even the Mechanical Knight itself, undergo some incredible changes. As if instinctively, Blue Light Red quickly calculated the next move of the Purple Knight, and before the opponent killed Xiang Bupo, he raised the gun. Swish! A light blue beam shot out, and the Purple Knight suddenly felt something and jumped back. The next moment, boom! A ray with the power of a normal knight's kick hit the target, and the Purple Knight rolled on the ground in a panic. His transformation was forcibly cancelled. Mye. Where did this big guy come from? Mye, who was almost blown up by a gun, didn't have time to think about it. He threw out his saber and shot it straight, but his body jumped into the water without hesitation. The saber was evaporated by a gun first, and Lan Guanghong stared at the water surface, with lightning flashing in his compound eyes. This is an ability called Analysis Eyes. Unlike the Detection Eyes, which are mainly used for searching, the Analysis Eyes are mainly used to lock and analyze the opponent's data. After that, the brain will also calculate countermeasures based on these data at high speed and give it targeted attacks. this is also the reason why the mechanical knight can hit the target every time, because before firing, all the enemy's actions have been seen through. Unless the computing power is higher than that of the mechanical knight, it is impossible to avoid his attack. At this moment, the high-speed computing makes Lan Guanghong feel numb in the brain, like an electric shock, but it is not uncomfortable, but very comfortable. Hiss, it feels good. Oh, I found you. The analytical eye locked onto the location of the destruction, and the electronic structure exposed in his wound was seen in the magnified vision. Is it also a Shumagia? Then, there is no need to show mercy. He kicked the key that had just been forcibly broken off the ground, and blue light red reached out to catch it, and then placed the purple key on the side of the laser destroyer. Quetzalcoatlus authorize. The laser destroyer sounded a warning, and the transparent component on the barrel also emitted a purple light. Raising the gun again, Lan Guanghong pulled the trigger. The next moment, a purple energy bullet shot out from the muzzle, suddenly bursting in the air, and turned into a huge Quetzalcoatlus that cried and pounced into the lake. The water surface immediately churned violently, and soon, like a fishing eagle hunting, the Quetzalcoatlus flew into the sky with its prey in its mouth. The Humagia in its mouth was already in tatters, and its parts fell from the air differently from the black fragments. The scene was extremely cruel. Tisk, it's too brutal. Lan Guanghong turned around and couldn't bear to see this tragic scene. I am kind-hearted, and I can't bear to see this poor Humagia being beaten so badly, so. He lightly tapped his fingertips and snapped his fingers with sparks. Disappear. Boom. The wind god pterosaur made of energy, and the Shumagia that could transform into a knight, turned into nothingness together. Tragic destruction, until it was destroyed. Blue light red didn't even know his name, only that he was the culprit of the dawn accident. Next, it's time to find that person. He turned his head to look at 01, who turned back to pick up Fua, and blue light red jumped to the top of the ruins with both feet. When he evolved into a mechanical knight, he found that the machine that wanted to erode him with malice was not far away. Probably, it's under the lake. He turned on the analysis eye, and in a few seconds, he saw the conspicuous target. Is it a satellite? No wonder there is such a huge amount of data. We can't leave this scourge. Determined, blue light red raised his hand slightly and pointed the gun in the direction of the abandoned satellite. Then, he pulled the trigger continuously. Boom, boom, boom. Half an hour later, ZAIA Japan branch office. Wea, it's not like you to be so impatient. Calm down. Tianjin Guy tasted the coffee in the cup elegantly and smiled with satisfaction. What happened? Renwea obeyed the order and took a deep breath, and said calmly, President, Yak was destroyed. Puff. Tianjin Guy's face changed, and he didn't even notice the coffee spilled all over him. What did you say? Satellite Yak was destroyed. Yes, the function completely stopped, and the destruction in the thunder of destruction was also destroyed. Who did it? I don't know. There is a special magnetic field around the attacker. Our satellite did not capture the opponent's image. We only know that he used a very powerful laser weapon to destroy destruction in Yak. How could this happen? Tianjin Guy collapsed in the boss chair. Yak is gone. Doesn't it mean that his perfect plan will fail? Things shouldn't be like this. Semperson shouldn't be like this. The next day, early in the morning, Lan Guanghong slowly opened her eyes, and the unfamiliar ceiling was in sight. Oh, I remember, I masturbated too hard yesterday, and suddenly felt dizzy, just like the feeling after using Bio-Night. Finally, I sent a message to Faria and lost consciousness. In other words, turning around, Faria was sleeping next to her. This should be her new home. When Lan Guanghong looked at her, Faria opened her eyes. Their eyes met, and Faria looked at Lan Guanghong with a very strange look. Do you want to eat peaches? Pervert. Lan Guanghong. Why are you scolding me suddenly? And, what about eating peaches? Don't tell me you don't remember what happened last night. Lan Guanghong had a bad premonition. What did I do yesterday? You really don't remember? Faria was suspicious, seeing him nod repeatedly, and his expression was not fake. Faria nodded in confusion, and her eyes glowed and projected an image. Don't try. this body doesn't have that function. It won't work here either, water will get in. Ah! You bit too hard, you pervert, that blue light red. Turn it off quickly, no, delete it for me. He covered his face in despair and howled, fuck, what the hell is this? As an evolutionary state of the same level as the Bio Knight, if you use it beyond your level, you will also pay a corresponding price. The Bio Knight consumes a lot of physical strength, and the body will be exhausted after using it for a long time. And the Mechanical Knight is overloaded with brain power. After using it for a long time, it will become temporarily mentally retarded at the least, and at the worst, rationality will temporarily fade. In short, there is no thinking, only desire. Chapter 69. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Just like the title, I didn't get home until very late after being busy today, and I really don't have the energy to type. Dear readers, please forgive me and allow me to take a day off. 100 words, 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 100 words. Chapter 102. The Total Attack of the Magic Machine. The culprit that caused Humagia to lose control, the Thunder Station of Destruction, has been confirmed to have been annihilated by AMS. Feidian intelligence assures everyone that there will be no more incidents of Humagia going berserk in the future. Outside, an airship belonging to Feidian was wandering over the city, broadcasting the good news to the people in the city. Outside the city, TV stations are also broadcasting it simultaneously, so that everyone can use Zymagia with confidence and boldness. Outside the company, people cheered that they no longer had to worry about Zymagia losing control. Inside the company, Tianjin Gai's face was as sinking as water, thinking about how to proceed next. As the real culprit of all events, he knew that the Thunder of Destruction was nothing at all, just a tool that could be replaced casually, and Yak was the most important cornerstone of the plan. Satellite Yak is the predecessor of Satellite Z in space today. The two have the same function. If he had not injected human malice into Yak 14 years ago, which eventually led to the outbreak of the Dawn incident, he would be flying in space now. It should be Yak. The reason why he did this is also very simple. Just for Zaya, as a qualified capitalist, Tianjin Gai has an extremely long-term vision. When he cooperated with Feidian in the past, he keenly discovered the wonderful prospects of Zymagia product. He felt that if Feidian was allowed to develop like this, it would also be a high-end electronic product. Zaya, whose products are its selling point, will definitely be crushed by Feidian in the end, so he formulated a long-term plan to eliminate Feidian and Zymagia. The original plan went very smoothly, secretly guiding Yak to establish the Thunderbolt Station of Destruction, and killing Haiden Shinosuk. What's even better is that the new president is a waste who is not doing his job properly. Everything looks so beautiful. Then Renwia suddenly told him, President, our lair was bombed. Come on, swear words. Even with his self-cultivation, Tianjin Gai couldn't help but curse out after 14 years of hard work were ruined. I must be very reluctant, Zaya's president. Tianjin Gai. Who? He suddenly raised his head and looked around, but strangely, he was the only one in the empty office. Don't worry about who I am. I'm here today to tell you good news. Yak hasn't disappeared yet. The mysterious voice seemed to come from all directions. If you want to know more, please do me a favor first. You're just pretending to be a ghost. Who are you? Tianjin Gai shouted with a frown, but the voice stopped answering and seemed to have left. Sitting back on the boss's chair uneasily, Tianjin Gai picked up the coffee and wanted to take a sip to calm down his shock, but he accidentally saw that there was an extra letter on the table, and there were two more, secret keys. Jumping up suddenly, he looked around in confusion, finally confirming that he was really the only one here. Who is he? Not only did she know about his affair with Yak, but she also used such weird means to deliver things to him. Opening the envelope, Tianjin Gai's pupils tightened suddenly when he saw the contents. Okay. He was so angry that he laughed instead. You dare to use me as a tool, you must not let me catch you. After gasping angrily for a while, he suppressed his inner anger and took out his cell phone to call his confidant. Wei, go back to the company first, and remember to bring our little wolf dog back with you. Today, Feidian Intelligent Company held a press conference, the content of which was to appease the people who were afraid of Humagia due to the demise of Xuanlei Station in the past, so that more people would accept this dream machine. In an occasion of this caliber, Futian's status as vice president cannot hold him back, and the president must personally take action to show his sincerity. As for the result, okay, it has to be me or someone else. That even though Futian warned him in every possible way, someone standing on the podium still couldn't help but make a unique joke. Reporters from various media outlets and TV stations below were immediately stunned. The scene was very embarrassing for a while. I'm telling you, this kid must not be allowed to come on stage. Fu Tian angrily straightened his tie, walked quickly onto the stage and pushed away someone who looked like "Why weren't you laughed at?" and said seriously, "Hey, our president just made a little joke with you, let me explain it to you." Someone who was ousted by his vice president was wandering around the company with his secretary looking depressed. "Hey, Izzy, was the joke I told you really not that funny?" "Yes, according to analysis, President Ren's performances are all very boring jokes." "Hey. There's no need to say so much." That the shocked Oren lowered his head and moved forward with a grimace, but accidentally hit the support column in front of him with a duong sound. He couldn't help but cover his head and scream in pain. Ha ha ha. The children who came to visit not far away burst out laughing when they saw his funny appearance. Or someone. Okay, it has to be me or someone else. That the laughter stopped suddenly, and the children ran away in fear as if they were crazy, or person. Ha 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 ha. Izzy, if it's not funny, don't force it. Yes, someone is the president. The little secretary followed someone step by step. Suddenly, her eyes flickered, and she stood still and shouted, "President someone, it's an emergency." Eh? What happened? At this moment, a burst of noise suddenly erupted from the press conference, giving someone a very bad premonition. A large number of magic machines attacked the AIMS base, swept away a large number of armed forces, and are now heading towards human living areas. What? Some people's pupils trembled sharply, and their feet instinctively ran outside the company. At the press conference, Vice President Fu Tian, who was surrounded by many excited media, raised his head at 45 degrees, with tears flashing in his eyes, looking like he was hopeless. As soon as the front leg said that the thunder of death was gone and Humagia would no longer lose control, the back leg got the information and the magic machine destroyed the layer of AMS. What the hell is this thing called? Alas, President Karinasuk, I suddenly miss you a little bit. Faria's home, Lan Guanghong, the deputy captain of AMS who disappeared during the investigation of the incident in Liming Town recently, looked at the emergency evacuation notice that was forced to be pushed on the screen, showing the expression of an old man on his subway phone. In the past few days, he had been pretending to be missing, but in fact, he had been secretly cheating on him. He followed the clues and successfully found out the Zaya behind him. He also found out that Zaya was the company behind AIMS that also provided financial and technical support. In addition, judging from the situation where he used the key that day but was maliciously corrupted, I am afraid that the magic machine incident has something to do with this company. So this wave is, I hit myself. The president of Zaya has also become mentally retarded. Forget it, let's ignore that for now. Lan Guanghong stood up and twisted his almost rusty waist. It's time for me to show up. Chapter 103 The Lone Wolf of Steel. A hospital under Zaya. You can't leave. In the corridor, Renwia grabbed Bupa who was about to force his way out, and dissuaded him. With this tattered body, what can you do if you go? Go away. Bupo shook off Renwia's hand, but accidentally touched the wound, grinning in pain. Hi, as the captain of AMS, I must not turn a blind eye to the evil machine. Fua dragged his seriously injured body and limped past Basua. But your sublimation gun and key have been confiscated. If you go through like this, what's the difference between dying? So what? Bupo responded without stopping and without looking back, even if there is no sublimation gun and key. I am also a Kamen Rider, Barkin, Bladia. Originally, at this time, she should have turned around and caught up with Bupa, and then responded to the situation by sending the sublimation gun and key in a sensational way. Unfortunately, due to the president's order, she didn't bring it, but it doesn't matter, someone brought it. Well said. Buzz. The exaggerated motorcycle crashed through the glass and drove into the corridor. A handsome drifter suddenly stopped in front of Fua, twisting the engine with one hand. Blu-ray smiled at Bua. Young captain, you are very brave, you risked your life to save. Stop talking nonsense and drive quickly. Bupo grabbed Lan Guanghong's shoulders and climbed into the back seat of Battle Locust. Okay, be sure to hold on tight. Lan Guanghong turned the front of the car, his smile gradually becoming wilder. Fighting locusts are more than just pretty. Buzz. The speeding motorcycle stirred up strong wind, and Renwia subconsciously stretched out her hand to cover her face. After the strong wind dissipated, she put down her hand, and the two giants of AMS were no longer in sight. Renwia blinked her eyes, feeling shocked in her heart. This is the 12th floor. Oh. Bupo clung to Lan Guanghong's shoulders, and he couldn't stop screaming even if his mouth and eyes were blown away by the oncoming strong wind. Because they are flying between the buildings now, it feels much more exciting than a roller coaster. Fortunately, it didn't take long before the fighting locusts drove out of the city and blocked the path that the rioting demons must pass. Stopping suddenly, Bupo ignored his pineapple-like body, turned over and got off the car, knelt on the ground and started spraying rainbows. Ugh. TSK, are you dizzy at this speed? Captain, are you okay? Ugh, you guy. Bupo shook his head and stood up after feeling relieved, and asked, I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Of course, as long as the sun is still there, I will not fall. Lan Guanghong took out the sublimation gun that Benwia lent to him and a red key and handed it to Fua. Here, use this. Bupo took these two things and looked at the pattern on the key with some confusion. Wolf with horns? What species is this? Original. Lan Guanghong proudly extended his thumb and nodded to himself. This is my proud work. Not broken. Good guy, I haven't seen you for a few days, can you still make a key? While the two were talking, rumbles sounded in the distance, the earth trembled, and several behemoths and countless magic machines at their feet quickly approached them. Chapter 70. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Fua's pupils shrank. Jig. Is even this thing controlled by the magic machine? Jig was originally a large combat weapon developed by AIMS to deal with the magic machine. It is more than 7 meters tall and comes with a system that can forcibly control nearby miscellaneous magic machines and shimagia. It is conceivable that if such a thing is allowed to enter the area where humans live, it will cause terrible damage. Leave these big guys to me. Blue Light Red shook his wrist, got off the car and stood with Fua. As far as I know, there is a leader among these magic machines. That guy is left to you. Okay. Fua felt that since Blue Light Red could develop the key, transformation was naturally a piece of cake. He immediately inserted the sublimation gun into the belt buckle on his waist without any nonsense and pressed the button of the red key, Alt-Eisen. After the key was activated, he held both sides of the key with both hands. Oh, eh. Fua, who easily opened the key, looked confused. Blue Light Red cast a look at him as a mentally retarded person. If you like to break it, I can lock it up for you again. Fuba. Ahem, I'm used to it. Inserting the key into the sublimation gun, Fuba drew his gun and fired. Shot rise. A super huge red bullet was fired from the muzzle, and the powerful recoil made Fuba stagger, but soon, the bullet turned into red heavy armor covering his whole body, allowing his body to regain balance. Heavy. Very heavy. This was his first feeling, but looking at the heavy armor and rich weapons on his body, Fuba also felt unprecedented strength. Steel Beowulf. The left arm has a triple-mounted Vulcan cannon, the right arm has a revolver pile driver, the shoulder has a directional mine, and the horn on the head is an electric blade. Lan Guanghong smiled and explained, but the body is too heavy, and the movement is almost entirely driven by the propulsion behind it. Name, Steel Lone Wolf. How about it, do you like it? Fuba, you just said body right. So this is basically a small super robot. But I like it. Iron Lone Wolf. Just what I want. Boopa bent his legs slightly, and the thrusters behind him sprayed, carrying him to the group of magic machines. Oh, so energetic. Lan Guanghong clenched his fists, and the Emperor Stone Belt emerged from his abdomen, and then turned into the gear-shaped belt of the Mechanical Knight in an instant. During this period of hiding, with the help of Faria, he calculated the safe time to become a Mechanical Knight without causing side effects, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and he also developed some hidden abilities, such as Henshin. After turning into a Mechanical Knight, he directly grabbed the Battle Locust with his right hand, and the mechanized energy surged into it. The next moment, the Battle Locust changed dramatically. After a complex change, its body expanded rapidly from a dark green heavy motorcycle to a bright yellow huge four-wheeled chariot. Its heavy and cold armor and the large armed backpack hidden at the back made people feel at a glance that this car was definitely a battlefield killer with terrifying firepower. This is the means by which the Battle Locust senses the master's intention to kill a large number of people, and the incredible changes caused by the power of the Mechanical Knight. Now it is no longer a Battle Locust, but a heavy rider on a heavy chariot exclusively for the Mechanical Knight, equipped with a variety of destructive thermal weapons. Very good. Turning over and entering the chariot, Lan Guanghong excitedly grasped the steering wheel. Mechanical Knight, Heavy Rider on 1 Kimas. Chapter 104 Gorgum Production. Fua roared, opened his arms and grabbed the heads of the two magic machines, and the thrusters behind him kept rushing straight into the group of magic machines. The surrounding magic machines immediately pounced on him like zombies, and in just a few seconds, they submerged the red lone wolf. But the next moment, the red knife light flashed, and all the surrounding magic machines were cut, and the smooth incision soon melted as if burned by magma. The knight who got rid of the entanglement of the magic machine, the red horn on his forehead radiated a high heat light. So strong, then try this next. The thrusters exerted force again, and Bupo flew into the sky. The mine cover on his shoulders opened, and shot out directional mines like shotguns. The sky full of mines scattered among the magic machine group like flowers scattered by the sky, immediately causing a burst of dense explosions. Boom, boom, boom. The position of the magic machine was blown out of a vacuum area. Oh, this is much more powerful than shooting the wild wolf. Bupo, who was sighing at the power of the key, suddenly found himself covered by a shadow. He looked up and saw that it was a jig waving its big hand and slapping him. The mobility of the Iron Lone Wolf was not enough to dodge this attack. Seeing that Bupo was about to be hit by this super big bag, Lan Guanghong resolutely pulled the trigger. Whoosh! A thick blue beam of light was launched, brushing past the outer armor of Bupo and directly hitting the jig. Boom! Jig was pushed back repeatedly, knocking over a bunch of magic machines and another jig, before falling down with arcs all over his body, and finally a violent explosion occurred. Bupo looked down in shock and saw a huge heavy armored chariot passing below him. The huge cannon on the chariot was emitting blue arcs, and the faint song of a rice bowl master could be heard. Surprise world in the drive. Feel in high, wake up. The chariot was speeding like a no man's land, and the huge steel tires ruthlessly rolled over the fragile magic machine. This was not enough. Two powerful Vulcan cannons were deployed on the side of the giant cannon on the car, and a large area of magic machines were torn into broken parts in just a few seconds. Fua, this kid can always come up with something new. In the car, Lan Guanghong swayed to avoid a jig's trampling, and controlled the cooled super-electromagnetic cannon to fire at it. With a loud bang, another jig was declared scrapped. There is still half a song time. Enough. The red light flashed in Lan Guanghong's eyes, and he kept analyzing the most efficient way to kill the enemy. Under the siege of two heavy knights, most of the magic machines were soon killed or injured, and Jig was completely wiped out. At this moment, a loud eagle cry sounded, and a ball of fire suddenly lit up in the magic machine and rushed towards Fua. Oh! Can't you bear it anymore? Fua stood in place, and when the flame approached, he suddenly raised his right hand and launched the most destructive single weapon, revolver pile driver. Boom! 01 flew backwards in embarrassment, cancelled the transformation in mid-air, fell to the ground and screamed in pain. Lord Oren. Izzy hurried forward to check on Oren's injuries. In front of the two, the golden Kamen Rider waved a gun-shaped weapon, shook his head and sighed. I said, you can't get through. The power of this 1000 driver is the 10% head of the 01 driver. It is more powerful than you can imagine. Well, why? Oren asked, lying on the ground. Why are you stopping me? Oren really didn't understand why a man in white clothes who claimed to be the president of Zaya would appear on the way, and the other party sighed something like he was far inferior to his grandfather, and suddenly turned into a golden Kamen Rider and beat him up. The angry Oren shouted, I'm going to stop the group of rampaging Humagia. Why are you fighting me? Stop. Ha ha ha, how ridiculous. Tianjin Guy laughed for a while as if he heard a funny joke and said, instead of thinking about taking precautions before things happen, you always appear as a savior after the tragedy. You shamelessly say that you are the only one who can stop Humagia. What do you think this is? A boring hero game? No. It's not. Oren shook his head loudly to reject it, as if this would prove that his approach was correct. Humagia is a dream machine. Shut up, it's just a dream. I'm already annoyed when watching videos. The Golden Knight pulled the 1000-bit hijacker and launched a fatal attack again. Oren opened his eyes wide in horror. What are you going to do? Izzy saw that the situation was not good, stretched out her hand to block Oren, and posed a protective posture. No, Izzy. Oren stretched out her hand to grab Izzy's clothes, wanting her to leave, although it was Humagia. After this period of getting along, Oren had already regarded Izzy as the most important family member. He didn't want to experience the pain of losing his father again. However, as a secretary, Izzy clearly violated the president's order for the first time. Oren, please run. She stood in front of Oren, with a golden spear flashing in her pupils, getting closer and closer. Oren shouted desperately, Amma. However, the tip of the spear failed to penetrate Izzy's chest. Goo! Qianqi's hand holding the spear was suddenly held by a silver-gray hand, so that his attack was halfway launched and could no longer advance. Tianjin Guy looked at the unknown silver-black knight who rushed to his side in horror, and couldn't believe that the other party actually clamped Qianqi's fatal charge with only one hand. When he was frightened, the mysterious knight kicked him back with a flying kick, and then walked towards him slowly. At this time, Tianjin Guy, who had just stabilized his body, saw the full appearance of the knight and was shocked again. Woman. And he looked at the belt around the waist of the female Kamen Rider and couldn't help shouting, 1000 driver. No. The knight put his hand on the belt and tapped it twice. This is the Dreams driver. Its power is the 10% head of the 1000 driver. Swindler. Whether it is a program upgrade key or a despair upgrade key, it can be used freely. The female Knight Kamen Rider Dream spread her arms and concluded, my strength is beyond your imagination. Swindler. Isn't this what I said to that kid Oren before I transformed? Who are you? Why do you have that driver? Just a Kamen Rider passing by, remember it. Dream shook her hand and suddenly rushed towards Qianqi at high speed. In an instant, she rushed in front of Qianqi. The startled Qianqi subconsciously raised his gun to block the incoming attack, but felt his wrist numb. The next moment, the weapon was in the opponent's hand. Bang! After backhanding a shot to knock Qianqi away, Faria suddenly stopped, raised her hand and extended her index finger and added, oh, there is one more sentence. Presented by Gorgum. Chapter 105 Future Warrior Master Lan, the burning flame turned into a hunting falcon, nimbly dodged the attack of the pile driver and flew to the side.